Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I'm going to go through all the Blu-rays and DVDs that I picked up in the month of September. So first up, from Vinegar Syndrome, we have Auntie Lee's Meat Pies. So I'd never heard of this film until Vinegar Syndrome put it out. Gave it a watch. I had fun with it. It's nothing great. It's not to be taken seriously. But I think if you can sort of not take it seriously, there's enjoyment to be had out of this one. It ranges from quite light-heartedness to weird to downright gory towards the end. So kind of delivers on a number of fronts. But tonally it's kind of all over the place, although I don't really watch these films for the comprehensive storyboarding. But yeah, I had relatively good fun with this one. So take your brain out and enjoy it. These women, they entice men back to this house in the country, and they kill them, cook them, and put them in these Auntie Lee meat pies, which are the sensation of the local town. So yeah, all silly stuff, but I had good fun with it. It was all right. Okay, next up. From Arrow, one of their new releases, we have the Brotherhood of Satan. Not had a chance to watch this one yet. I'm getting a strong Devil's Reign kind of vibe with this one. I'll have to check it out soon and see what it's all about. Not heard the best things about it, but I'll give it a watch soon and see what's what. Okay, next up from Camp Motion Pictures, we have Call Girl of Cthulhu. So this is like a low budget indie type film. I watched this right at the beginning of the month, so I can't remember too much about it, but this call girl, she gets involved in like this Cthulhu worshipping cult. Wasn't as good as what I expected. The characters let this one down. I didn't really like anyone in the film or find them all that relatable. It did have some pretty good practical gooey effects, which I really appreciated. It was good in that kind of sense. It had its moments, but on the whole, I didn't really care for the film all that much personally. Okay, next up, picked up Carnivore. This one, difficult to critique this film because the DVD was so bad. The picture quality was really poor. And the sound was awful. I couldn't tell what anyone was saying. It was really muffled. So kind of took away a bit of my enjoyment of the film. The movie itself, it wasn't great. It was a silly low budget monster movie. But it did pass my #1 monster movie test. It did show the creature for a decent amount. So it at least has that going for it. But I think I would have enjoyed it if it was a better transfer. I don't recommend picking up this DVD at all. Unfortunate, really. So that's that one. Next up, from Arrow, I picked up the Cold War Creatures box set. So this is 4 films from Sam Katzman. You get Creature with the Atom Brain, The Werewolf, Zombies of Moratau, and The Giant Claw. So really nice box set there from Arrow. I've been interested in seeing The Werewolf and The Giant Claw for quite a few years now. So nice to finally get them in this set. I have had time to watch a couple of them. I've watched Creature with the Atom Brain and The Werewolf. Creature with the Atom Brain was fantastic. That's like this mob boss and this scientist taking these corpses and reanimating them to commit murder and get back at people, and the police have to stop it. And then The Werewolf, that was really good. That's this guy who's cursed as a werewolf following this like medical experiment, and he's running around this town changing into a werewolf, and the authorities have to stop him. Really enjoyed both of them, so that kind of bodes well for this box set. I'm looking forward to watching the other two. I think Creature with the Atom Brain is still the one to beat so far, but yeah, really nice set from Arrow. Definitely recommend that if you're into like your 50s monster movies and creature features and things like that. Okay, next up, picked up The Conjuring 3. which I enjoyed. I thought this was another good entry into the Conjuring series. Didn't quite enjoy it as much as The Conjuring 2, but I think The Conjuring 2 is an amazing film. They're easily the best in the series and one of the best kind of supernatural films that I've seen. But this one was perfectly enjoyable. Got some quite good moments in it. Didn't find it as scary as some of the other films in the series, in the franchise. But it definitely had its moments. I really liked the Warrens and the part that they played in it. I was really kind of invested in their plight. So yeah, I got no problems with The Conjuring 3. I thought that was another good entry. Okay, next up from 88 Films, one of their new releases, The Doll of Satan, part of their Italian collection. This is another one that I thought was good. It's from, I think it's the late 60s, and really not a lot happens in this at all. It's very, very slow burn. This young woman, she inherits this big gothic castle, but there's like stories that it's haunted, and certain people want to buy it. You don't know if it's genuine or not, whether she's being played, that kind of thing. So, although it's very slow burn, I did really enjoy this film. It had some fantastic atmosphere. I really like kind of the Euro Gothic sensibilities in this one. And the scenery as well, as weird as that sounds, it's had some really nice scenery and things like that. So it all kind of mingled together to create this really quite enjoyable, atmospheric, slow burn Euro Gothic thriller. So yeah, I did get a lot out of the Doll of Satan, and really nice release from 88 Films. If you can grab this with the slipcase, it's really nice addition. Okay, next up from Arrow, we have Death Screams. I did do a quick review of this on my channel a couple of weeks ago. I really didn't like it. I thought this film was awful, painfully boring, painfully slow. There was actually times when I forgot that this was a slasher film and that there was supposedly a killer on the loose. So little was happening on screen. I forgot it was a horror film at all. And I think the makers of this film remembered themselves the last 5 minutes into it and tried to cram a few slasher tropes into the final frames. But yeah, not a good film at all. I'm happy to own it because this edition is really nice. But I've got this one for collector's purposes only. Okay, next up is Death Tunnel. So this is a film that I've been intrigued about for quite a while. Finally got around to getting it, checking it out. I liked it. I had fun watching this one. It's these teenagers that go into like this abandoned asylum for like a dare or a challenge or something. You've all seen that kind of plot before. And there's like ghosts and things, and like these infected people that start haunting them and stalking them, that kind of thing. I thought it was pretty good. Right, next up from this is from Scream Factory and IFC. This is Depraved. This was a very interesting film. Not what I was expecting at all. It's kind of like a take on the Frankenstein story. This scientist, he puts all these body parts together like Frankenstein and creates this, brings this guy back to life and has to like teach him the basics and the fundamentals of sort of the outside world and things like that, and he has to like develop his cognitive skills and all those kind of things. But there's other things to it, like he's kind of been funded by this really shady, underhanded guy, and this Frankenstein creature, he starts to learn more and more, and he wants to go out and starts to kind of like remember his previous life, and it all kind of develops and meanders into this sort of quite dramatic storyline. I thought it was okay. It was very deep. It was not, as I say, not what I was expecting. It explored some quite sort of deep subjects, philosophical, existential subjects, and I admit I wasn't kind of ready for that depth of storytelling. So I didn't fully enjoy it when I watched it. That's not to say that this isn't an excellent film. It really is. It's really well done. It's different. It's quite daring. It tells a very, very strong story for a horror film. I think I need to watch this again, knowing more about what it is, because I think I wrote it off a little bit as like a B-movie-ish kind of film, sort of with a title like Depraved and this zombie-looking guy here. I thought it would be a lot more schlocky than what it was, but it's a very kind of well-written, tightly told, deep story. So yeah, but certainly a very good film. Okay, next up from Scream Factory, we have Eight-Legged Freaks. I've wanted to see this film for years, and I've tried to buy it a few times, but it's always been in those horrible snapper case DVDs. So I've never bought it. So when it came out on Blu-ray in a normal case, I ordered it straight away, and I had a lot of fun watching this film. It was very entertaining. I'm glad that I've finally checked it out. It's basically arachnophobia. It's a more modern version of arachnophobia with CGI spiders. So if you like arachnophobia, I'm sure you'll like this film. I'm sure most people have already seen it anyway. I'm very late getting round to this one, but I had a lot of fun watching this movie. The only gripe I had in it was the spiders made noises. They kind of made sort of reactionary noises like gremlins, and I thought it'd be scarier if they were silent, but that's a very, very minor gripe. On the whole, I really enjoyed Eight-Legged Freaks. It made me laugh, made me smile, and I was very entertained. Okay, next up is something from the History Channel, so getting all educational now, and this is Fear Files. I've not watched this yet, but this just looks to be like documentaries on paranormal, occult, unsolved mysteries, hauntings, all kind of weird, bizarre, scary things like that. So I'll have to give this a watch at some point and watch some of the documentaries and see what they go into and see what they investigate. But I just thought that looked like a pretty interesting DVD, so pick that one up. Okay, next up from Vinegar Syndrome, we have Girls' School Screamers. Great slipcase. I was a little bit disappointed with the film. It didn't really do much for me. It's these girls, they go into this big mansion, and they are, I think, is it haunted? I think it might be haunted by the previous occupant or something like that, but it's very, very slow. Not a lot happens in this at all. And I thought it was going to take place in a high school with a title like Girls' School Screamers. I was gearing up for a high school themed horror film, and I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't. I don't know whether I'm taking that too badly or not, but yeah, it just wasn't really all that great. This one wasn't, in my opinion. Okay, next up, some kind of family-friendly stuff from Warner Brothers. We have The Halloween Tree. So this is a pretty cool cartoon from the early 80s, set around Halloween, so probably should have watched this next month, but I did have fun watching it. I like the old school 80s animation. It was pretty exciting, plenty going off in it. Nice to sort of watch this on a Sunday morning and just watch a bit of cool cartoon Halloween stuff. So yeah, I enjoyed The Halloween Tree. Okay, next up, this was a hidden gem, a film that I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, from Troma, and it's Hell Block 13. So this is an anthology film. This woman on death row, she tells 3 tales to the executioner before she's sent to the chair. The executioner is played by Gunnar Hansen. So that wraparound story I didn't really care for, but the 3 stories that she tells are really, really good. They're sort of like very similar to like Tales from the Crypt episodes. They look and feel like those kind of episodes, but really, really well done. Low budget, but that didn't take away my enjoyment. and there's some really good practical effects in this as well. Some like zombies, and there's one segment where this woman she kills her children in the lake, and then they come back as like watery kid zombies, a bit like the zombies from Creepshow, and they look awesome. So yeah, I really enjoyed Hell Block 13. It took me by surprise a little bit. Okay, next up, some more family-friendly stuff actually, with Hotel Transylvania. So I actually went to the pictures to see this. I thought it was like a couple of years ago. Looking back, I think it was about 10 years ago that I went to see this, which is frightening. But I remember really enjoying it at the time. I liked the jokes in it. I thought the characters were pretty good, made me laugh. So it'd be nice to check this one out again at some point and revisit that one. Right, next up from Vinegar Syndrome, we have Killer's Delight. So this is about like a serial killer. He drives around in a van, picking up women and killing them, and then the police are like on his trail trying to find him. There's a strong focus on like the police procedures in this one, and sort of what they do to catch him. It's not sort of like all out slasher serial killer stuff. But I did enjoy this. I thought this one was another good movie. It kind of, parts of it feel like a TV movie, and then parts of it feel like a really kind of exploitation grindhouse film. So interesting mix in this one. And then, like I say, a lot of it is kind of almost like police drama, watching them do their thing. But then there is a few kills and things like that. But yeah, I like Killer's Delight. I thought that one was pretty good. Right, next up from Vinegar Syndrome was The Lamp. This movie, this was okay. It got some good things in it. It's got some interesting kills, and the creature towards the end looks pretty good. It's like this evil creature that comes out of this lamp, and these kids, they sneak into a museum where this lamp is, and they get locked inside, and they get killed off one by one by this lamp creature. It's okay. I wish more had happened. If a little bit more would have happened in the film, it would have been really good. It was just a little bit slow in places, but like I say, pretty cool kills, pretty decent looking creature at the end, so it was okay. And another nice release there from Vinegar Syndrome. Okay, next up is The Last Light, an Irish ghost story. I don't know anything about this. I just picked it up cheap. It looked pretty interesting. I'm curious to see an Irish ghost story, so I'll watch that at some point and see what it's like. Okay, next up from Doppelganger Pictures is The Monster Collection. So this is, I think, 2 or 3 documentaries on monster movies and the people that create them. I've only watched one so far, and it was about this guy called Phil Tippett. Got to admit, I'd never heard of him before, but he's a rather big name in the world of stop motion. And he worked on like the Star Wars movies, Jurassic Park, Starship Troopers, lots and lots of different things, and he sort of pioneered quite a few techniques and things like that. And it was really interesting to see him do his thing and learn more about the techniques that they employ for stop motion and how it's developed and advanced over the years and now kind of merged in with more computer technology. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. If you're really into stop motion, then that particular documentary is a must. But yeah, I haven't watched the other things on this yet, but I'm looking forward to doing so. I'm sure that'll be interesting as well. But I just thought it was an interesting little set. Okay, next up is Monster Makeup with Dick Smith. So in this, he just shows you how to apply different monster makeup techniques. So he like shows you how to make teeth and vampire teeth and things like that. And then he does this guy up to look like first of all like a vampire, then like a bit of a rotting corpse. Really cool stuff. I wish it was a bit longer. It's only like just over half an hour long. But it was rather enjoyable. It was a bit like watching The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. but it's monster makeup with Dick Smith. But same kind of sort of an enjoyable, relaxing quality to it. So yeah, that was pretty interesting stuff. Okay, next up is Pool Party Massacre. So I need to thank Alan Scouser for this. Alan was kind enough to send me this. I'll link Alan's channel below. So yeah, thank you so much, Alan. He reviewed this on his channel. He didn't like it. I just made a comment, you know, great review. And he offered to send me this free of charge, which he did. So again, really nice of you, Alan. Very kind of you to do that. I am going to send something to you as a way of saying thank you. But I did actually enjoy Pool Party Massacre. It was certainly nothing special. I liked it for what it was. Very sort of low budget, silly. Doesn't take itself very seriously. Just these really horrible, annoying women getting killed off at this pool party. But the gore was pretty good. It harked back to the 80s in a little bit, and there's a pretty cool heavy metal soundtrack to it as well. So I did have fun with Pool Party Massacre. Happy to add that to the collection. Thank you again, Alan, for that. Okay, next up from, this isn't Scream Factory, it's Shark Factory, is the Psycho Legacy, which is a really interesting documentary on Psycho. In fact, it looks at all 4 Psycho movies. It's like a lovingly made retrospective on all the movies in the franchise. Really interesting stuff. Taught me a couple of things that I didn't know. And if you are a fan of Psycho, this is a definite must watch. If, like I say, if you're into those movies. I particularly liked it when they went into Psycho 2, because I've always thought that was a very underrated film, and that actually stands up very well against the original, and that was kind of what they were getting into in this documentary, and how they really felt the pressure of having to follow up the first one and doing as best they could to make a respectful but effective sequel. And for me, that really came through when I watched the movie, so it was nice to see a bit of the making of that as well. But yeah, really interesting documentary there. Okay, next up, I got this from Vinegar Syndrome's website, but it's from Saturn's Core. Never heard of them. This is Psycho Sisters. So shot on video trash from the 90s. This was okay. I have a love-hate relationship with shot on video. Some of it I quite enjoy. Some of it I find it just unwatchable. This was alright. The one thing I didn't like about this was the kills in it were very quite drawn out, and they were so feebly done. It was like no one really had enough strength or anything to hold the people down or do what they wanted to do, but it was all just really fake, badly looking kills. But yeah, you know, shot on video, it's kind of what you get, but it was alright. Certainly not the worst shot on video movie that I've ever seen. Okay, next up we have See No Evil. Finally got around to watching this movie, so starring Kane. Now, I am a huge fan of Kane the wrestler. He's one of my favourite wrestlers from the Attitude Era. So I was quite eager to watch this. Gotta say, I really didn't like this film. I thought it was awful. Really bad, bland filmmaking. I didn't like the look of it, the way it was filmed, where it was filmed, the characters were awful. And Kane as well, to say he was like a 7-foot killer in this. He had no screen presence or anything. So, yeah, really bad. I will stick to watching Kane in wrestling. So, yeah. Next up from AGFA, we have She Freak, which I enjoyed this film. But if you are watching it on the premise of this She Freak monster causing all kinds of trouble, then don't, because the She Freak literally comes out in the last 10 seconds of the film. It's really kind of like a carnival film. This young woman, she gets a job at the carnival, sort of just goes about learning the carnival way. But over the course of the film, she gets quite spoiled, quite entitled, becomes like not a very nice person, doesn't like the sideshow people, she's quite disrespectful to them, and then it all kind of comes to a head. I think she has an accident or something, and becomes the she-freak. I don't think I'm giving much away. You kind of know what's going to happen. But yeah, literally the last 10 seconds you see the she-freak, which is a shame because she looks great. The makeup looks fantastic. I don't know why they did that, but yeah, it is what it is. But I did enjoy the film. I enjoyed it as a carnival drama, shall we say. So yeah, and really nice release as well from AGFA. Okay, next up from Screen Factory we have Straight Jacket. Never seen this before, but Joan Crawford, she gets committed at the beginning of this film for killing her husband with an axe. Many years later she comes back to live with her daughter on this farm, and then axe murders start happening again. So it's sort of, is it not Joan Crawford's character? It was alright, not too bad. Okay, next up from Kino Lorber we have Supernatural from the 30s. This was alright, not great, but it was okay. This woman, what happens in this one? They're doing a seance or something, and then this recently executed woman switches bodies with this other woman. Something like that. It lost me a little bit. Didn't hold my attention all that much. I don't know if because it was so old. I'm not sure. I think sometimes I buy a film from like the 30s and automatically think it's going to be a fantastic classic movie, but not all of them are. I wouldn't say this one is. It got its moments. It was alright, but nothing special other than that, in my opinion. Okay, next up from Vinegar Syndrome is Through the Fire. Another one I'd not heard of until Vinegar Syndrome put it out. It was pretty good. It's this police guy and this woman, her sister's gone missing, and it's all linked to like this devil worshipping cult. It's a pretty good film. It's another one of these releases that would have been really good just if a little bit more had happened. It was a little bit plodding in places, but on the whole I did think it was alright. Okay, next up is Trespassers. This was pretty good, pretty hard-hitting film. These two couples rent out this villa, and this really creepy woman stops by claiming that her car's broken down, but there's obviously something not quite right about her. And I don't want to give too much away on this one, but things happen, things get a bit violent, there's a few deaths. A lot of the characters have secrets that come out, and lots of kind of twists and turns. I enjoyed it and I thought it was a good film. My only thing with Trespassers is I kind of had more questions at the end of the film which weren't answered. But pretty good stuff, pretty effective. And then last up from IFC and Screen Factory is a film called Wildling. Don't know much about this and I haven't had time to check it out either, so I'll have to do so soon. So that's everything that I got in September, guys. Like always, feel free to let me know what you think of the movies. Thank you very much for watching and stay tuned for more videos.